High five! And welcome in, everybody, to the MHRT Podcast. I am your host, Mundungus Creevy, alongside my co-hosts, 6'10", Mr. Boggins and Glenn Hauser. We are a fan-led, Broncos-based podcast, filling you in on all things NFL news, but more importantly, Broncos news. We go live every Thursday, 7, 6, 5, 4. You know where to put them, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So make sure you slap that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and follow us on Facebook, so that you can know when we go live and anytime we post amazing content on our pages. How's it going, everybody?
Good. How are you?
Good evening. I wish we had something to talk about tonight.
I know there's so much that went on. This is kind of exciting because, like, normally we come on here and we're like, what are we going to talk about now? There's so many things to talk about. Let's start right off real quick. Recapping our draft picks. So we got first round, Pat Surtain. Second round, Javonte Williams, which I believe was Boggins' favorite running back in the draft, correct? Number 1, you're muted, sir.
That's why he stuck the finger
That's why he's holding one finger up.
Usually he gives a different one.
Number 1. My favorite pick, Quinn Miners. I love this guy. Knocking down trees, carrying propane tanks, throwing wood up on his shoulder. Hey, I was the original gut.
I was literally watching a video of that before the draft, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then we got him. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Did you see the video from the Broncos draft room when they were playing the Miners training video?
He's
and
like, he's knocking down trees.
They're all laughing. So great. I love it. He's coming over to the house next week. We've got some stuff to clear here, so it's gonna be great.
There you go. The second round 3 pick was Baron Browning. We finally got that linebacker we were looking for.
Everyone was panicking the whole entire time, but it was weird how that
linebacker.
Huh?
I was too, but not about linebacker.
Yeah, it was weird how he fell so far. Actually, I definitely didn't see him going. I mean, people touted him as potentially, early second round,
right?
Yeah, but
along with Jabril Cox.
There were some weird linebacker picks, but I guess just more scheme fits, I guess.
Right.
Before then, but high upside with him.
Then we go to round 5. We had Caden Stearns and Jamar Johnson. 2 safeties. Stearns is from Texas, Johnson from Indiana. Boggins, you had Johnson as your number 1 safety?
Yeah.
Like overall or just like in that round?
Yeah, I actually like Jamar Johnson the best out of any of the safeties this year. I think he has tackling issues, but I think those can be taught up. And he just has great anticipation, and he's a ball hawk. So I'm really excited. I could see him swapping out Kareem Jackson real quick.
And then we go into round 6 with Seth Williams. I've never heard of the guy, so I can't say anything about it.
Big and fast.
Okay.
Big and fast, red zone threat.
So like a Julio Jones, big and fast?
No, I don't know about that.
He reminds me of Demaryius Thomas a little bit.
A little bit.
Videos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then our 3 7th-round picks, Kerry Vincent Jr., who's a corner.
Super fast, though. He had like the 4th fastest 40 time.
Jonathan Cooper, who's an end, D-end. And then Marcus Spencer?
Marquise Spencer. And then, Jonathan Cooper is more of a, he's another edge.
Okay. Yeah, they got him down as defensive end, so I wasn't sure. And so this is a point where, as far as the draft goes, I was a little disappointed because they didn't draft a quarterback, but that's just because of the how important the quarterback position is. I was more disappointed that they did not draft the right tackle, and now we're seeing the bad end of not drafting that right tackle. Don't get me wrong, I love Surtain, but I would have much rather gotten Slater. That's just my personal opinion. Each their own.
I don't know. I just think it's such hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. I mean, I feel like the team we're going into the season, expecting Juwan James because he opted out last season. It wasn't like he was hurt last season.
Right.
And so they went into the season expecting him to play, and then probably decently confident in Calvin Anderson as a swing tackle, and then they were going to get a rookie to potentially, whatever rookie we were going to get, unless it was like a Rashawn Slater, is not like they have starting potential. You know what I mean? Like they still have work they got to do anyways. I mean, Calvin Anderson is as good as you're going to get right now, besides potentially the ones that we'll probably talk about later that are coming in for visits.
Right. Yeah. And again, obviously, okay. So I guess, so we all know that Juwan James tore his Achilles when he was off premises, off team activities, on his own, working out. And there's this big debate over whether or not Juwan James should get paid the $10 million for this year or not. I guess that the NFL sent out a memo, a strongly worded memo saying the Broncos, I guess, suggesting the Broncos don't pay him the $10 million.
Was it suggesting? I thought it was demanding.
That's why I did suggesting.
Yeah. And then
I suggest you show up to work on time.
Cliff just put out a report that the union is like firing back, saying that's like not okay that they put that out. So it's like a big even though this has been a thing forever.
Well, I was gonna say it's like Article 9 or something like that says that if it's not on company or on team property or wherever, then they don't have to pay it if they don't want to. I mean, part of me thinks that a lot of this has, the NFLPA is kind of to blame for this one. Just because, I mean, they have the negotiating power when the CBA comes up to change that or put it in, and they're the ones that were like, hey, just stay home, don't go to, voluntary OTAs, like don't do that, stay home. So this is kind of their fault, but at the same time, like I honestly, I don't see the Broncos not paying him. Just because, then you're getting into, disincentivizing players to work out when they're not, on team grounds. And so then they come into training camp or OTAs or mini camp more out of shape because they're not working out because they're worried about getting hurt and then it not being paid for. So that's what I think. Would I like them to not pay him? Yeah. I think they should go after after all the money he's been paid because he didn't do jack. But I think they'll pay him.
Well, I'm obviously not a fan. I mean, the guy really collected a ton of money, but I did actually feel for him in this situation because he was working out at Valley this whole time up until the directive from the union to work off site. I think they will probably settle for like half. I can't imagine that they're just going to not pay the whole thing. That's just a hunch, just because it does set a bad tone for other players on perhaps what they would think of the Broncos organization and that they, and how they treat these players.
Right.
But, the Broncos are within their rights not to pay him. So, and it would be justice considering how much money he's collected over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you, Glenn. I think that right now the Broncos executives are stuck between a rock and a hard place in terms with this whole situation. While I do feel bad, I don't want any player to get hurt, whether they're a Bronco or anywhere around the league. So I just think that he's probably going to get maybe a settlement of like 10 or 20% of what he was making before. I don't see the Broncos coughing up the 10 mil, seeing as how he's out for the entire year. So it sucks. And like Mundungus said, it's half, the NFLPA, when the CBA came up, they should have reorchestrated that whole thing better. And hopefully something gets resolved because like Boggins told us before we went live, this is getting uglier and uglier by the day.
Yeah. You can always tell when someone panics, they can't find the volume button, so they just slam it into the Boggins.
He went from being muted to now just being disruptive.
That's fair.
We've got a very active chat today. Shadowjacker, 26 more days until Christmas morning. I'm going to assume that has to do with Travis Bruley's question of, are we getting Aaron Rodgers?
Are we getting ready for Aaron
I want to stop
Rodgers?
talking about it, so we just like just forget about it, and then it comes around, and we're like, you know what I mean? Like if we talk about it too much, it's not going to happen unless we try to talk it into existence.
There's so many things that are coming out about it though. Like you don't know which one's accurate and which one's not. Like we know off of reports that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, neither one was the one that let out anything on draft day. That was all Adam Schefter letting that out. After months and months of research and all kinds of stuff.
I don't believe it, by the way.
Mhm.
I did listen. I was listening to that interview today, and finish your thought, and then I'll.
Well, there's definitely a rift between the Packers and Rodgers, and I can see why. Like, just the fact that it's been 15 years, and they got him like one first-round offensive weapon, and it was a backup quarterback. So I get it. Like I'm not saying that Devontae Adams isn't great. I'm not saying that Aaron Jones isn't great, but they were second, third rounders that just happened to work out. They weren't drafting him in the first to give him weapons. And even if you've got Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, you don't have that second wide receiver. You don't have that third wide receiver. You don't have that backup running back that's worth anything yet. You don't have that secondary tight end other than Tanyan. I mean, there's not a lot. Like if you took Aaron Rodgers off the Packers and put another quarterback on the Packers, they're not as good, not even close. And it seems like the Packers were just, hey, we got Aaron Rodgers, so we don't have to worry about this. We'll worry about this side, not worry about this side. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And now you've got Tom Brady who leaves the Patriots, and now he goes to the Bucs, and he's got 85 different receivers to throw to, and 17 different running backs to throw to, and like top five
keeps
defense.
every player.
So it's like
We have those. You should come here.
That's what I'm saying. So, but I mean, you've got that front office. It just seems like they're dead set against surrounding Rodgers with more talent and just sticking with the status quo. So I get why he's upset. Like it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They actually drafted a receiver. I think it was Amari Rodgers, Rodgers.
In what?
In the later rounds.
But they still drafted an A. Rodgers, so they will have an A. Rodgers.
We'll have an A-Rod on team.
He was
the
projected
Schefter
to
thing
potentially go in the first round, so almost.
Yeah, and I guess it was Schlereth that first broke it, or was it Schefter?
Schlereth. Mark Schlereth. Yeah.
No, Schefter put the tweet out, and then Schlereth was saying.
Schlereth was the one that was saying it's almost a done deal.
I'm walking around our house like Mike and I are on the phone talking. I'm like,
wait a minute.
I'm like
freaking out.
Like people were getting all over Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, he's a diva. He's taking over the draft. He wasn't the one that let out the info that we know of. And honestly, if Aaron Rodgers is a diva, who cares? Like, has he not earned the right to be a diva in the NFL? Yeah. Like, name a better quarterback in the NFL right now other than Rodgers.
I just hate this whole
maybe Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I just hate this whole whiny thing that's going around. Like he's out whining on TV shows about how bad his GM is. Like just because he called him Jerry Krause in a group text. It's who doesn't talk crap about their bosses? Who doesn't talk crap about their bosses? Like what? Like I mean, why do you care? Like just because it's in public eye now that everybody's talking about it like it means anything, they're going to be quiet real quick once you start throwing 35-40 touchdowns a year for us.
Yeah. And if we start talking about the Packers GM, I'm just going to call him Goody because I have I've heard 18 different pronunciations of his name. So, so I'm just going to call him Goody because it's easier.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean
and it's not like he's listening. So
yeah.
I can call him whatever I want.
Not yet.
Aaron Rodgers is listening, but Goody's not.
If you think about it, and I know it's a dangerous thing to get players involved in personnel and such. And I'm not even suggesting they should have consulted Aaron on personnel, but they at least, the Broncos at least had the decency to go up to Drew Lock before the Bridgewater deal and let him know it was happening. They drafted his replacement, a first-round quarterback. This is Tommy Maddox coming in when John Elway, and didn't have the decency to even tell him. And Jake Glazer's even saying that they didn't even tell the coach they were doing it. So LaFleur was even blindsided by that.
LaFleur almost looked like he was going to cry in the presser too. He was talking about Aaron. Oh man, he's terrified. He's terrified.
The same thing like with the Bears. Like the Bears got Andy Dalton, and even they called Andy Dalton, was like, "Hey, we're going to take Justin Fields." Just letting you know. Like, how do you do that for Andy Dalton, but you don't do that for Aaron Rodgers?
And Dalton goes, "But I'm QB1. I'm QB."
Stop comparing not for long. Those two that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, because number one, Aaron Rodgers is better. Second, and coming out of college was better. He fell and it was ridiculous. Number two, they just got out of an NFC championship. The Packers, when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, were 4-12. Like it was pretty obvious that the time was coming, and Brett Favre was on his way out anyways. He announced later on announced his retirement, so it's like
and then showed up to like mini camp or whatever, like without telling anybody.
Yeah, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah. Dave Glassman, don't pay James another $1 and no more than 2 ones for Rodgers. So I guess the next big question is, if Rodgers is even part of the plan, which it sounds like it is, but then again, you're getting 7 different sides of the story, so you never know. Was it Kuhn came out, the old Packers fullback, and I think AJ Hawk said the same thing, was there is a chance that they could figure it out. I don't know. I'm not going to believe that they're letting Rodgers go until they announce that they're letting him go. But I do believe that there's more. There's definitely some fire behind the smoke with Aaron Rodgers and the Broncos. So I'm going to keep my hopes up. But what would you be willing to give up for? And I know that we had listed, what are you going to give up for Deshaun Watson? I will give up more for Aaron Rodgers. Like, you can take over the payments on my Equinox. You can have my first child. You could take like one stall in my garage. Like, you can, whatever you want, you can have it.
I don't agree with that. Just specifically because of where he's at in his career, like the age wise. Well, like, I do think he'll give it. Like, people keep trying to compare to Peyton Manning. That's also not the same thing.
But you can't, because I know Peyton Manning had those 3 neck surgeries.
4.
Which is what sped up the regression of his arm.
And he was on borrowed time.
Yeah, and it was pretty obvious that he was. I mean, he just won MVP this last year.
Yeah.
And his arm isn't going anywhere. You can see it.
And what I will say is, looking at Aaron Rodgers, he's already said he wants to play into his early to mid 40s. He wants to pull a Tom Brady type thing. So let's say, for example, he goes to the Broncos, where he's got an established offensive line, Sands, right tackle, and he's got weapons to throw to, running backs. He's got a great defense. You could be looking potentially at 5-6 years of Aaron Rodgers. Realistic,
Mike. Before we dig into that, you might have to answer to your firstborn.
No.
Landon is not a happy camper.
I don't think he's in right now.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Where? I don't see him. Whatever.
Like 4 up.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Oh, not me. 5 second born.
I think the Packers are probably going to want a wide receiver, so they could ask for Judy. I've heard Judy's name being thrown as a possible selection. Maybe
I think I would rather Judy than Sutton.
I don't think Sutton would go, because Sutton, in my eyes anyway, Sutton and Devontae Adams are almost kind of like the same type of player. Jerry Jeudy, on the other hand, would give the Packers a shot in the arm in terms of youth, even though Jerry Jeudy's still, pretty rough around the edges, and he's coming off a pretty rough rookie season. But I would figure that's whatever the Packers want, the Broncos are going to have to pony up, and a lot of fans might not like it.
I think it's more about the contract than anything. I think that they're both obviously high potential, but Cortland's coming off an ACL and going into a contract year, so I don't know if they're going to want that as much as a bargaining chip, but I could definitely see 2-3 first round picks. But I mean, to get hopefully 4 or 5 years of Aaron Rodgers, he would at least bring 1 Super Bowl to the city. I'm almost 95% sure. So And I don't know, Broncos fans need to stop being so spoiled. We won the Super Bowl 6 years ago. Try being a Jaguars fan
or a Chargers fan.
or a Chargers fan.
Yeah, but that 6 years ago feels like an
An
eternity.
eternity.
Yeah.
Albert Knoppers, we don't need that diva Aaron Rodgers. I love you, Albert Knoppers, but no. Like,
I just want to know
Nice
how
job
he's a
last
diva.
night, by the way, Albert.
it
How is
kind
he-
of reminds me like that's kind of like saying, oh, we don't need Manning. We've got Tebow. We don't need him.
Hey, he's coming back.
I'm not saying that Locke isn't going to be good. I'm not saying that Bridgewater can't be good, but they're not going to reach Aaron Rodgers level. They're just not.
You got to call John Elway a diva then too, because he pretty much blackmailed the Colts to to trade him to Denver. So call John Elway one then.
But again, like
the
even
same
if
thing.
he is a diva, he's like top 5 of all time. Like you've earned it. Be a diva. I don't care. Plus, like he's endured like 15 years of crap from the Packers.
Mhm.
So you have no idea what he's going to act like on a team that actually surrounds him with the talent that he needs to win more. So
Kenneth has concerns about adding Judy to the trade, by the way.
yeah, you can't add Judy in the deal. The call would keep getting tried. It's like a fax machine.
We laugh now, but if he stays a Bronco, that'll hurt. Watching that
I
on
don't
the
know,
field.
man. Everybody's talking all big ups about like CD Lamb and stuff, but CD Lamb still had like one less drop than Jerry Jeudy. So and CD had at least decent QB play.
And this is why I say I'd rather have Sutton over Judy, just because Sutton is proven. We know that he's like top 10, top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. He can be that good. We don't know what Judy can do yet. And if we don't have Judy, we've still got Hamler. I'm not saying they're the same, but I would much rather give up. Plus, Judy's still on his rookie contract, so that helps.
Mhm.
So I'd much rather give up Judy than give up Sutton. But for me,
Would they take Hamler instead?
I don't think so. Maybe Tim Patrick.
I don't think. I
could be
think
an
Albright
option.
said you couldn't trade Patrick because of the restricted free agent status. But I'll double check that. But I believe he said that last night.
I don't know.
I
I've never
don't
heard of
know if that's true after they pick up the tender, because they already picked up the tender. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure about that though.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Ooh, Shadow. There we go. Shadow, the host of Late Night with MHRT. We keep
I wouldn't
changing the
give-
name
I
of
wouldn't
it.
give up
I don't
Daria.
even know what the
I
name
wouldn't give up the Dario.
Dario
Mm-mm.
stays.
No,
Mhm.
she stays. 3 first-round picks: Sutton, Chubb, and Alexander Daddario. No,
Mm-mm.
you can give up Alexander Daddario all you want.
Mhm.
Just come stay at my house. Sorry,
With
hon.
a name like that, he's probably got more in the stable.
I was going to say I would do 3 firsts, 3 firsts, a second, and probably Locke and.
They're not going to want
Judy
Locke.
Fine.
They already have a
won't.
They already
young
have it.
QB.
They're gonna want Petty.
They'd want Bridgewater.
Then I don't want to give up Bridgewater.
Well,
They already
if
have
you
a
have Aaron
quarterback.
Rodgers. Like, who
Oh,
cares?
and well, they're also looking at. I guess the Packers are looking at quarterbacks to sign for minicamp and OTAs already.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, 3 firsts, a second. I'd probably give Judy and let's say we go defense and give him Chubb. That would be like the max I would give.
Dude, that's a lot.
Yeesh.
And
did you say?
I'd rather it be like 2 or 3 firsts, a second, like a fourth, and then 1 player. But like at
Yeah.
the same time, like with how our defense is looking and how the team's looking, those 3 first-round picks are going to be like what,
Mhm.
25, and then once you
Right.
get Aaron, you're looking at your first-round pick being a 30th or 31st and 32nd pick. So you can have them.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that first one that you said, though. The 3 firsts and Chubb and Judy.
That's too much.
That's too much.
Mm-hmm.
No bueno.
No bueno.
But that's coming from me, who's all for it. so
Late night.
Winky
Okay.
face.
Winky face. Okay. So then the next question is, if you do add Aaron Rodgers, can you keep Locke on the team? Like, I'm not saying contract wise you can, but like team chemistry, locker room chemistry.
Yeah.
With how
Aaron Rodgers would be a great mentor.
You know, well, you know that
Broncos fans are.
You know that Aaron Rodgers is Drew Lock's like dude, right? Like that's who he models his game off. That's who he loves. He loves Aaron Rodgers. So if Aaron Rodgers came in to kind of semi mentor him, I'm sure he'd be bummed, obviously, that he's not
He'd be bummed.
that he's not the starter, but obviously, but I think out of anybody, having Aaron Rodgers in there would be, cool for him. It would get complicated though, because you'd have 2 years left on, or you'd have this year and the next year left on Drew Lock's contract, and then you really got to decide what you're going to do with him, and you haven't seen him continue to play, so.
Dave Glassman, I think you can trade RFAs.
All right, thanks, David.
I mean, you can trade anybody, can't you? Like without having,
I think you have
anybody that doesn't have a. Well, but if they picked up his tender and he's on the team,
then I think you can trade him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trade Sutton, but it will just be Deshaun Hamilton in Sutton's jersey. That'll work. You can have him.
You're definitely the same height.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Tim Greenwood, 3 firsts, Glasgow, and Von Miller. I don't think they'd take Von Miller.
I don't.
Just because of his age, he's coming off so many injuries. His contract is massive, and they're having cap issues.
Both of them are going into contract years, and they're expensive.
Yeah. Travis Tarbox, let Locke learn from Rodgers. Richie, I'd rather keep first-round picks and trade an extra player, 2 firsts and a player or 2. I'd rather hold on to players.
Well, what players, Rich?
He's gonna say
Justin Simmons. Get out of here.
Justin Simmons.
I agree. Dave Glassman, I think Locke learns by doing, not sitting. If we get Rodgers, the Locke era is over. Agreed. And that's why I was saying, do we see Locke staying?
I don't really think the Locke era has begun, to be honest with you, and that's coming from a Locke fan.
Aaron Rodgers learned on the bench for 3 years, so he turned into Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know about that. You can also learn on the bench
while holding a clipboard. Yeah.
Jerry Allen, I'm not buying into Locke is done. If Aaron comes, going to stay hopeful and positive because anything can happen. I can go with that. I mean, it's so in the air of what would happen. We all pretty much agree that Locke has potential to be a good quarterback. Obviously, he's not going to start over Aaron Rodgers. Who would?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. If you get Aaron Rodgers for 4 to 5 years, do you really think we're going to hold on to Locke that long? Just because his contract is up in what, 2?
2, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Drew Lock is done. I'm just saying Drew Lock potentially might be done in Denver. Just because if you got Aaron for 4 to 5 years.
Not to mention still having Bridgewater as a
bridge over troubled water.
Yeah.
Trade him to the Texans for a first-round pick.
If Bill O'Brien was still there, you could work that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 4 to 5 would kill Locke. Yeah, that's why I'm saying in Denver, Locke might be done if we get Aaron for 4 to 5. I'm not saying he'll be done. I just don't think he would stay with the Broncos that long. Jason O'Neill, the NFLPA is calling the Juwan James memo gutless.
Yep.
Didn't they kind of create this of their own doing, though? I mean, calling for players not to go into team facilities, not amending the CBA when they had the opportunity to. Wasn't this kind of their own doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, the Broncos were gutless up until they got Quinn Miners.
Those
drop.
dad
Next
jokes
question.
are often.
Mic drop. Next question. Okay, so right tackle options. They're saying that there's a chance that Juwan James is not done for the year, but minimum recovery time would still put him in December. So that's basically the whole year. I know that they've had their eye on, or they're going to interview 3 right tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I know
the one
that I know.
The one from Tennessee,
Dennis Kelly.
Dennis Kelly, and then they've got
Bobby Massey.
Bobby
Massey, and then I thought there was one more.
Well, there's talk about Leno potentially coming in, but that hasn't been scheduled yet. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
but Leno, I think, is a left tackle.
He
He would have to convert.
Yeah,
I believe
the
it's pronounced
are
Leno.
Leno? I thought it was
He
Leno.
hasn't played
I thought Kelly was the right tackle.
Yeah.
Or
So
left
Kelly
tackle.
started.
Swing.
Kelly started all 16 games at right tackle for the Titans last year,
And didn't
almost
allow
1,100
snaps,
snaps.
I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I heard too. And cap
Boom.
casualty, just over.
Dude, I tweeted you that like right after John James is down. Like you got to step in. It's your turn now.
Get up and show us your form.
Show us your
Show
form.
us your form.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
So what's interesting is Massey is coming from the Bears. She's going to be 32 at the beginning of August. He started 110 games at right tackle, but he missed some with injury, didn't have surgery last year, but he actually was a tackle there when Vic Fangio was defensive coordinator for his last 3 seasons. So Vic is certainly familiar with him.
Know who he is. Right
And,
tackle.
well, you would hope from practice, but one of the potential replacements for Massey at Chicago is Elijah Wilkinson, which is kind of an interesting fun fact.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
George Moravi, Leno played right tackle in college.
That's what I just said.
And then I wasn't listening to you.
That's fine.
Richie, Kelly was a swing, then he moved to right tackle last year. Okay.
The host doing his homework.
It seems like we could do some moving around. I'm going to assume that has to do with the rumors that have been flying around about Reisner moving to right tackle.
That's not a rumor. That's just what people want.
Yeah, and I know that he played right tackle in college, but we saw what he could do as a left guard his rookie year, and I don't know if I want to change that up.
Why do you take good away from where you play good?
Right, that's what I'm
Put
saying.
it to
I don't
where-
know if I'd want to take him away from the left side and
Yeah.
move him to right tackle. I would much rather have Bowles, Reisner, Miners, Muti, and then I don't even
Rarely
Kelly?
ever are you drafted like as a guard, and then you, especially if you've played tackle in your college time, and then you move to to tackle in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like you don't. It's not often that guards go to tackle. It's usually tackle doesn't pan out, so then they go into guard. So I don't see that happening.
Albright already said it isn't going to happen. Yeah, and I know that he said that in an emergency, if he was the only one that could possibly play tackle, they'd move him. So and that was one of my initial thoughts. Are they going to move Reisner? But
and also weakening a position that's a pretty strong position. I know people were down on Dalton the beginning of the last season, but left guard is something I generally don't worry about. But if we move him, we do weaken that position a little bit. So
don't be surprised.
And then there's no guarantee that he would do well at tackle.
Don't be surprised if Miners beats out Cush though for center position. Just saying.
Yeah, and because I don't foresee Miners beating out Reisner, and I don't see him taking Miners to replace Glasgow when you've got Moody.
No, they're starting him at center. They're starting him for center.
Yeah, and
and that was an interesting choice of words. They didn't say that when they were talking about him, they said we're starting him at center.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought that he was already deemed the starter. But it was just an interesting choice of description instead of saying we're gonna give him a chance first to compete for the center job, but they said starting.
Yeah. And they
I'm
said
sure
that
Kush was like, "You kidding me?"
Yeah, he was saying that they were going to start him out at center, but then every interior lineman, center and the guards, need to learn how to play each other's. Like he wants guards that can play center and centers that can play guard. So, I definitely
guard's just always the interchangeable though.
Right,
guard is just always the.
And I'm guessing that they saw some deeper struggles with Cushenberry than we did if they drafted someone to play center after Cush was a rookie. So. There must be something going on there.
Can you imagine what Munchak thought when they drafted Miners and he's going to get to coach that Tasmanian Devil? Oh my gosh. I have my Miners shirt coming too, by the way. If you haven't ordered his
he's going to be doing.
Make sure that's one thing he did put out there that apparently there's companies that are selling his his merch without permission. So you got to make sure you go to his actual website.
Yeah, get the legit stuff. No
bootleg. They're gonna put miners on the water boy regiment. Like, imagine that those guys in front of you were trees and just knock them over.
Dude, his tape is
Mama
crazy,
said.
though. He's just lame.
But Mama said.
Adam Sandler.
And Rivera. Dennis Kelly is my pick at right tackle. I know Kelly, and then
It's in what do they have?
What? Who have what?
Oh yeah, out of 1,049 snaps, 2 penalties, 0 sacks allowed. I like Kelly. Seems like
I think you're onto something.
Who's the one that's from the Bears?
Leno
and Bobby Massey, both of them.
I've heard I've heard Kelly and Leno.
Bobby Massey was also on the Bears too,
which is really interesting that they're moving. That's interesting to me that it must have been a cap casualty thing that they let Leno go, and then they just immediately drafted Tevin Jenkins, who's a right tackle, and they're putting him at left tackle. So that's going to be interesting.
Is Tevin Jenkins a swing tackle?
What's Chad Kelly up to these days?
I mean, essentially, but he
Kirby salesman.
Drafted as a right tackle.
Wow.
But so Kelly made less than $3.5 million last year. So if he was a cap casualty at that after giving up 0 sacks, that's a real interesting small contract that we'd be staring at for a guy that could seemingly just jump right in.
To be fair,
he's a real interesting
Josh Allen. Josh Allen is not the easiest to sack, so there's that.
He's kind of big. And Rivera Reisner stays at left guard. He helps Bowles and Cush. I could agree with that, but I think last year Bowles was helping Reisner because Reisner and Glasgow were having to help Cush, which I think is probably part of the reason why they drafted Miners, is because Cush was basically leaning on his guards, which is why Glasgow and Reisner had down years, because they were doing like 10 different things at once. So
you better be careful. People will start calling you a Cush hater. You know?
I'm not a Cush hater. I figured he was going to start, but I got to tell you, like, Miner's knocking over them trees. Got me excited.
And I like Cush.
That kind of excited.
He was the only one of our players on the line to play every snap during the season last year. So,
Travis Tarbox, you guys think the gut beats out Cushenberry for center? I'm not going to say anything until we've actually seen him play. Now, he did step into the Senior Bowl and just annihilate people. So I think there could be a very good chance. But just based off of personality, I hope so.
I mean, he's got the real go-getter attitude, and he's very strong. And so I could definitely see it. I could see it for sure.
You know what I can see is him being mic'd up. I mean, how great would that video after a game?
I mean, imagine having Dalton Reisner and him, left guard and center. You know what I mean? Those two together are going to be best friends.
Well, and that's what I texted you guys right after we saw the video of Miners, and I was like, he reminds me of Reisner. Personality wise, they're like the same guy. So how much fun are you going to have on that offensive line?
Yeah. Opening up holes for our running backs. Going to be very, very sweet.
Speaking of running backs, have you noticed that in every interview with Peyton, he never lists Freeman? Have you noticed that? He mentions Melvin Gordon, Boone, and
well,
Devontae.
But we know that Royce Freeman's not a starting running back, though.
It's funny.
No, but he lists the other 3 guys. He never references Freeman.
Depth chart. They have Royce Freeman as our 4th string.
Yeah,
because they got Boone.
Yeah, I know, but it's
just interesting. It wouldn't take.
I agree. I don't even know if he makes the team this year. I don't know if he makes the 53.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe special teams, but I don't think Royce is the greatest on special teams. So,
see, look, you guys already started it.
Hey,
whatever.
It is what it is, man.
Okay, so here's my question. with not having Lindsey and having Williams and having Boone and having Gordon, good Lord, I like saying that. do you think that they're still going to have the guards pulling like they did at times last year to help open up the line? Or do you think the running backs are going to be able to handle the offense better and pick up more yards without having to have the guards motion?
I just think it depends on the scheme. It just depends on what they're trying to do. They're not gonna do the same thing every time. So
right, but I mean, I'm assuming we're not looking at the same type of running since we don't have Lindsey unless you've got Boone in there, right? If let's say you've got Gordon and Williams in there at the same time, you're not looking at the same kind of run as you would have had with Gordon and Lindsey.
I don't think Sherman really changed up that much for Lindsey. That's what I'm saying. Is I think that was one of the problems is his small stature, and sometimes he got a hole and he would go, but that was like his only thing. So
yeah. I mean, have you seen
run people over?
Well, and he used to be linebacker, right?
Yeah, he was
moved to running back
for 3 years of high school until his senior year, and then people were like, "Oh, you okay?"
Sorry, Glenn, go ahead.
No, but he has that linebacker mentality. I will say that our three top running backs are going to be extremely hard to tackle this year.
Yeah,
I mean, if you've watched Boone in any of his running back videos, I mean, that guy is a beast as well. I mean, we went from being a little thin at running back to all of a sudden being dangerous.
And I like that Javonte also has less wear and tear than the other two running backs. Both of the other two running backs that went ahead of him had that's I'm never about like a school. They say judge the player, not the helmet. Yeah. And I'm never about judging a school, but when you look at Alabama and how much they run the ball and they run their running backs like into the ground, like they have so many carries, that's a legitimate thing. Like that affects you the more mileage, the more, the closer you are to death. Right.
Well, and I've heard that same thing with quarterbacks as well, which is why, and not to turn it back to Aaron Rodgers, just quick little point. He did sit his first 3 years, so technically you could add, he's got 3 more years because he didn't start those first 3 years.
To Marcus's point, I mean, Javonte, I think the numbers are roughly half of the number of touches that Najee had. Yeah, I mean that's significant, especially when he was putting up those kind of plays. And I mean, he had, I believe, 340 touches. I mean, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was certainly not over 400. Meanwhile, Royce is the exact opposite. He was the busiest running back, I think, at the time in NCAA history, is the most number of carries. So,
if anybody wants to see some good stuff, go watch Javonte Williams versus Miami. YouTube it. You'll like it.
Or anything with Quinn Miners working out, because that's fun to watch.
Quinn Miners tree.
Quinn Miners tree. Let's see.
Quinn Miners has probably changed how some of these smaller, lesser-known prospects are going to approach the draft. I mean, what a blueprint that he put together.
Start punching holes in drywall.
Miners versus Cush in camp. Best man wins the job. How many camp battles are we going to have this year?
That's going to be a good one, though.
Same as all the time.
Really? Because we weren't really all that deep in offensive line last year. We weren't all that. There wasn't really a camp battle at quarterback. It ended up not being a camp battle for running back last year.
There was,
but there really wasn't.
Yeah,
I mean, we kind of all knew what was going on.
That was just because we paid free. The specific battle positions were all paid, highly paid free agents coming in, so they kind of had.
Let's see.
No, I think that if the gut sits out a year behind Cushenberry and just gets sorry,
it's so great. I
like the nickname.
Yeah.
Just kind of, obviously he's going to jump into the NFL, and every single team's defensive line and is not the same. There's always one player that's better than the other. So if he does win the starting job over Cushenberry, then hey, so be it. But Cushenberry was a 2nd round pick last year, right? Third. Okay, so he's not. It wouldn't be exactly the end of the world. It wouldn't be looking like a 1st round bust. But I would say that would be like a shot for his for his confidence, let's say. But either way, one of them is going to have to start behind the other. So
depth is always great to have.
Yeah.
especially on the line.
So does Surtain start, you think?
Probably not.
I read an article where they
I
said
guess
that
it depends on what you mean by start.
Does he want to be one in top three? I mean, because they play 375 to 85. What were you saying, Adon?
I read an article that said that Fangio could put out like what 5-6 defensive backs out there.
He usually does.
He usually does.
He does that a lot. He usually runs like a 4-2-5, I think. And it's but yeah, nickel and dime, which he runs a lot. I'm sure he'll be out there. But we're also playing. The only person I think he would swap out with would be Darby, but Darby's under a 2-year guaranteed contract, so I feel like we're also going to be playing him.
So I think like if you're talking like, is Surtain going to be one of the guys that covers the best receiver on the other team? Probably not. At least not the first year.
They did talk about potentially him as a follower. Like everyone is always talking about finding that coverage linebacker, but Fangio doesn't do that. That's not one of the things. Like he doesn't have a linebacker follow usually. Like it's usually in drop zone. So what he would do is have, like, if you're a nickel, he would potentially have like a Surtain follow like a Kelsey or whatnot. So that could be something. That'd be cool.
Plus, not to mention, we did lose a cornerback in the very first game last season, so depth is going to be a big factor this year.
Running that 4-2-5 is going to give you more of an option of covering the tight end like Waller and Kelsey instead of having that covered, because then you don't have to worry about really if your linebacker is a coverage linebacker, so you don't have to worry about if you got those thumpers in the middle, because if you're playing a 4-2-5, you've got the extra guys to cover the tight end. Ann Rivera, what are the chances Shermer uses RPO this year? We'll see.
He's got to do something. His behind is on the line, man. If we keep saying the same stuff we saw last season and it doesn't improve, he might not make it to the end of the season.
He used some RPOs last year.
Yeah, he did.
And honestly, I think, and I'm not defending Shermer at all. I'm saying that I think a lot of not running RPOs and not running play actions and screens and things like that was because of a lack of consistent quarterback play, a lack of good running, a lack of good offensive line blocking. So I honestly, I think that there was a lot of times that Shermer got painted into a corner as to what he could call because of bad play by multiple positions. See how I did that without calling out one person?
Yeah, I think you just offended Drew and Philip.
I just offended everybody. Kenneth Booker, Alabama usually has multiple running backs.
Really?
Yeah,
but I mean, like everyone does.
I know they have multiple, but they don't play them.
But they
have like a third down back
them into the ground in a massive RPO system. So, still,
Tim Greenwood, different kind of battle, but going to be great watching Sutton and Surtain battle back and forth. I don't know if it'd be Surtain, though. Wouldn't it be Darby or
well, he's the tallest.
In camp, I'm sure it'll probably happen at some point in camp, I'm sure. But
yeah, I mean, they're going to put on a great show
in
training camp. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Assuming no Rodgers, Locke wins the training camp battle versus Teddy. Write it down, take a picture. I don't give a bleep.
Funk.
I don't
give a far.
Funk. I don't give a far. I'm not saying that he won't. I'm just saying that
it's gonna be close.
In my personal opinion, it's going to be close. And if it's close, that's a bad thing for all of us. Because we all can sit here and agree that Teddy Bridgewater is not like a franchise top 10 quarterback, right? So if Locke and Bridgewater's battle is close, that's a bad thing.
I just feel like we look at Locke with orange-colored glasses way too much, man. I mean,
well, but that I've always said that like Bridgewater is probably going to win that battle, but even if it's close, that's a bad thing for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I hope so. Like, I mean, no one more than me wants Drew Lock to come in and ball out and completely prove me wrong. I mean, I'll take an anomaly. Like, the odds are very much against it, but shoot, I would take it all day.
Yeah. So, and that's why, like, I get not wanting to go. Well, I guess I don't get it. Not wanting to go with Aaron Rodgers because you have Drew Lock. Like I get the upside, but at the same time, but honestly, like if there's if it's 50-50 split in camp between Bridgewater and Lock, and the battle is like, let's say we go into the second or third preseason game and they haven't named a starter yet, that's a bad thing. That's not a good thing. Because you either want Lock to run away with it or you want Teddy to run away with it. Somebody needs to run away with it. Because if it's really, really close, we know what we're getting with Bridgewater. So if it's close, that's a negative, not a positive.
Although Fangio has been known to not name a quarterback until like the day before, just because he wants the opposite team to have less prep time for it.
But I'm saying, like, if
he did that with Kendall.
We've seen them playing through training camp and OTAs and the preseason games, and if you can watch both and be like, man, they're really close, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. You know, that being said, Mike, if we do end up with Drew and Teddy as our quarterbacks, I mean, all we need is with our weapons and this defense that we expect to be top 5, top 3. I mean, even average quarterback play should be enough to get us there.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping
schedule.
Well, yeah, we have the eighth easiest schedule.
Yeah,
something.
I think it was 6.
Yeah, like average quarterback play, I expect like playoff berth.
Yeah, but usually we have the second hardest or the third hardest. So this is actually a blessing. Finally, came at a good time.
Agreed.
Travis Tarbox, I know the NFL is running back by committee now, but I believe Williams will get majority of carries. In my opinion, Gordon is terrible.
Disagree.
Gordon is terrible at holding on to the ball, but running it, he's not bad.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Gordon is terrible because he did carry us when we needed him through all the Philip Lindsay injuries. I mean, it kind of sucks that he was just a few yards short of getting another 1,000-yard season. But the pressure is on Melvin Gordon to, put on a show if he wants a contract with Denver next season. Because if he gets shown out by Williams, it's, hey, thanks for coming by.
Is Williams a pass catching back?
Yes,
he can. He didn't as much. They were mainly like in the flats or screens and whatnot. It wasn't like route running specifically. So
then are we looking more of like a Melvin Gordon route running, catching balls, and Williams just smashing people in the face? Kind of running.
I don't know. I mean, I think Melvin's going to start it out, and we'll see how things progress. I don't see Melvin Gordon staying with the team past this year, though. So
I mean,
you're pretty much grooming Javonte to be your RB1 next year
with Boone. Ooh, that could be fun.
The big difference, I think,
I
is
really want to see.
Yeah, when our second string running, the big difference I think is from this year to last is when our second string running back comes out there. People know that it's not that it could be a pass play or a run play, and not just
they don't know what it is.
Certain that it's going to be a run play.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if there's any more massive news that came out because there was a lot. Well, there was I'm not excited that we don't have Juwan James. Like when Juwan James is healthy and on the field, he's good. He's really good. So it sucks that he's out, but I was expecting him to be out anyways, I guess. So I'm not like heartbroken because I was already expecting him to be gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this is kind of like an odd omen for any players that sat out last year. It doesn't matter if you're training on the facilities or elsewhere. You're gonna have to shake off that rust. Sitting out for a whole year, and your body got kind of away from that football mentality, and now you have to work your way back in it. Just be careful, man, because it's not going to be easy.
Dave Glassman, exactly what I was thinking, Glenn. Dope man cave, by the way.
Thanks, Dave.
Is it really a man cave, though? It's more like a museum.
It's an office.
I read that as a name.
1 second.
Dope man cave.
Dope man cave. That's the name.
Dope man cave.
You could probably register that thing under the Historical Society as a museum.
Ooh.
Hey, that would make a great war room if the Broncos ever needed a war room.
And we're out
I'm sorry I spelled carries wrong, fellas. LOL, stuff happens. Yeah, don't do that. My Tourette's kicks in, and then bad things happen. Dave Glassman, 12-5, baby.
Oh, I love that.
After the draft, and after let's go right now with Aaron. Like everybody's staying where they're staying. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. We got Drew Lock and Teddy. Where do you see us ending the year?
Over 500.
Yeah.
Eight and a half. 8.5 with 9.
Well, but wouldn't 8.5
9
be
wins.
at 500?
9 wins. I give 9 wins.
9 wins.
Yeah.
I think 10 and 7. I want to say 11 and 6, but
I think I had it right at 10 and 7 too. Is where I was at, 10 and 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mundungus 10 and 7.
But
if the defense stays healthy, because I have a feeling that if Drew Lock is under center, it's gonna be more of the defense carrying this team type show.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna go with 10 and 7 for now. But once we see what the quarterbacks look like, then I might change it. Going based off of how we looked last year, 10 and 7. If there's a significant jump and he looks a lot better, I'll reevaluate. That's the best I can do right now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Jason O'Neill looks like a Broncos vault. Dude, you should put a big old vault door on there.
Oh yeah.
Kenneth Booker, 11 and 6. Richie, 8 and 9. So pessimistic.
Yeah.
Well, with the exchange rate, it's
not easy to
10.
press that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If they get rid of Justin Simmons, then Richie will change his pick.
Oh, they're gonna be like 14 and 3.
The Simmons guy's holding his.
Simmons is gone. Kenneth Booker, 11 6 and Flacco's 23 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
That would be great.
That would be.
I wouldn't mind having that touchdown a little bit higher, but okay.
Wishful thinking.
Jason, the fan in me says 11 wins, but the realistic fan says 8 wins.
It's fair.
That's a fair assumption.
I mean, you could go through the schedule and probably find, 10 wins.
When is that coming out?
Theoretically,
May next
17th?
Wednesday, I think. Yeah.
12th? When is that coming out?
I don't know.
Next week,
Tuesday, I think. The 12th is Wednesday.
Is it?
I believe it is the 12th.
12th?
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be fun. It's not even really that exciting, but at the same time, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's
Like-
like it's nice to see when their bye week is.
You'd want
Like
to go to.
bye week
Next
is
Wednesday,
kind of
okay.
essential.
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Dave Glassman, I am an eternal optimist. Locke is going to have a great third year, with the same coaches and no major injuries. Sorry, I just have second year, third year.
A lot of people don't remember when he came in 2018 late season. So some people
I feel
don't
like
even
that's
count
all people remember.
12 touchdowns.
or 2019 season.
All they
sorry,
remember is the last 5 games of the first year and the last 5 games of last year. That's it.
Kenneth, I think you're light on that.
12 touch. You're light. Yeah. Well,
Drew Luck's 4 and 5 at the end of 2019 has held people all over for 2 years.
is he talking 12 touchdowns for all running backs combined, or like
I would think, yeah, that's what I took as.
because each would be awesome.
6 and 6. Yeah.
12
that's fair.
touchdowns each.
That's fair.
I believe it when I see it, but I hear the schedule is an easy one. Yeah, I think you're right on 6th. I think it's 6th easiest.
Yeah, 6 or
Which
7.
is fine. Like finally we suck enough that they give us an easy schedule.
Mhm.
Like apparently we didn't suck enough the other 4 years, but now we suck enough for them to give us an easy schedule. Or it's like, well, we made him play without a quarterback, so we should probably give him an easy schedule next year.
So Travis, they haven't announced the schedule yet, but they have announced the opponents. So it's just the dates that they're playing for each.
Yeah, and there was George Moravi said confirmed it's Wednesday, so the 12th is when they'll release the schedule.
And we actually do have the 9th, the 17th game is a home game this year. So we do have 9 real regular season home games. Detroit Lions, I believe.
If you don't mind, Glenn, can I ask you a question? Have you gotten your season tickets yet?
I haven't received them yet. No.
Okay, so then they're going to more than likely include that extra game in your packet when you get it, right?
So what you do? Well, they're all digital now, so you actually get charged for 10 games, and it was 8 and 2 preseason. So now it'll be 9 and 1 preseason. So
There's thank you, Boggins, for that. So he pulls up the 2021 opponents. home games, we got Chargers, we got Chiefs, we got Raiders, we got Bengals, Eagles, Ravens, Washington team for football, the WTFs, the Jets, and the Lions. And then away is the Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Browns. Ooh, that could be fun. Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, Jags.
There are so many winnable games there.
Yeah, well,
look at that.
I don't know.
So let's go.
So many iffies.
I want to say, so I'm just going to go with what I think are going to be the wins. So let's go Chargers. Let's go
1-1.
Raiders. Let's go Bengals, Eagles. Those are the wins. Jets. Good night. Lions. So there's 6.
So we're at 6. We're at 6-3 at home already.
Right. And then let's say Chargers again. I think we take one Chiefs game.
I think we can beat the Giants. Shermer can kind of give us an insight of how the Giants play.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys. Eagles? Yeah, Eagles. I think we win. And then Cowboys, Giants, and Jags. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm looking at like 11, 10 or 11.
That should get us in the playoffs.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about the sweeping the Chargers, but
no, I said 1-1.
Well, if we're going to sweep an AFC West team, it's going to be the Chargers. Like, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think it would be the Raiders.
I would say more
Raiders.
Yeah,
because I could even see us taking 1-1 against the Chiefs. I don't think we'll sweep, and I don't think they'll sweep.
Taking us 6 years to do it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So what would be your surprise win? Like aside from a Chiefs split, what team on there would you think would be a major
if
upset?
we won, it'd be a surprise?
Browns or Ravens?
Chiefs or Browns as well. Or Ravens, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Browns, maybe Washington, because Washington has a very deadly front line, but their secondary is going to struggle now that Darby's gone. And
it pains me to say this, but they don't really have a quarterback either.
I thought they had Fitzmagic.
What? Wow.
I said it pains me.
You don't know what Robert Saleh's going to do with the Jets.
That hurt me right here.
The man didn't even need his helmet to throw that pass, and his wide receiver caught it anyway. That is Fitzmagic for you. I mean,
people are like Fitzmagic, and then the other half is Fitztragic. I was like, oh, that hurts. That hurts.
I feel like we just played the Lions. We're playing them again. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, thanks, fellas. By the way, I've been a Broncos fan for 35 years, so I know quite a bit about the Broncos. I'm Denver Broncos for life, no doubt. I even have a Broncos tattoo. Ooh, is it a good one?
That's awesome.
He didn't answer.
I've always pondered that. I just haven't
answered. Yeah, but I think a lot of those games are going to be kind of cool. Like I'm liking the schedule. I'm not seeing any games that are going to be like. I don't see a lot of close games on here. It's either going to be an outright win or an outright loss.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
you should know by now, being a Broncos fans, we love to keep it close, even when it shouldn't be.
Well, except for maybe the AFC West teams, because we always play them close. Except for that Raiders game, nope, that doesn't count.
I don't know if Albert Knoppers is still in the chat, but he's moving near Kansas City, so it'd be interesting to see if he goes to Arrowhead this year.
I'm interested to see the Lions with Goff. That's going to be funny.
I'm not.
I am, because they don't have anybody to throw it to.
That's
why I'm super excited to see the Lions game.
I'm interested to see the Chargers. Us play the Chargers because of Staley being the head coach there now, and us. And if Drew Lock's starting, him being more familiar with, the Fangio style defense, maybe it'll help him a little bit at least. Yeah,
I'm kind of curious seeing the Burrow to Chase connection there in Cincinnati. That's gonna be kind of cool too. And I've always liked the Browns, but that's because they were always the underdog. They're not the underdog anymore.
Yeah, so I totally forgot about that, Boggins. Anthony Lynn isn't there anymore, so
yeah.
They're running our defense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind like Anthony Lynn as a coach, not a head coach, but like a coach, like a running back coach or offensive coordinator.
I think he's still out on the market. I don't think he signed with anybody.
No, he's with oh crap, he signed with somebody help me out. I don't
know.
He signed with somebody. I know he did.
You've dung your own grave.
No. I'm gonna find it. I'm telling you right now. He signed with somebody. Anthony Lynn.
You mean the offensive coordinator of your Detroit Lions?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, he signed with the Lions?
Yeah, I knew he signed with somebody. I was gonna say Cardinals, but I was like, no, that's not right.
Don, you should have known that. Your brother's a
Yeah.
My brother's on cloud 9 right now with Penei Sewell, so
Yeah, probably.
I would be
All
too.
right. So that's gonna about do it for us. That was fun. I like that one. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna about do it for us today. We want to thank every single person that joined us in the chat today, and there were a lot. George, Rich, Travis, there was Ann, there's Dave, there's Kenneth, there's Jason, Shadow, we got Mobad, we got Vic.
I was there.
There's all kind. What?
I was there.
You don't count.
Wow.
I'm trying to make sure. Ann,
You got Jerry, Albert,
Albert, Jerry,
Landon.
Travis, Landon,
He
so
didn't
many
mean it.
people. It was
There, buddy.
Corey Joe. He said, there you go. He said, Locke is trash. I didn't say that. It was a repeat. I didn't say that. I might have thought it, but I didn't think it. I didn't say it. Just kidding. Ha, ha, ha. Don't hate me. I'm already a Kush hater, so whatever.
That's been confirmed. Thank you, George.
Yeah, that's been confirmed. So, yeah, we want to thank everybody. Again, we go live every Thursday at 7654 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So make sure you slap that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on notifications, follow us on Facebook so you can know when we go live and anytime we post any of our content on our pages. Have a great evening, everybody, and we will see you on Sunday with a brand new episode of the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast. Does everybody want to do the mile high five?
We got to do the mile high.
Because I do. Everybody,
Yeah.
arms out. Say, mile high five. Y'all suck. All right, we're out.
Too
See you
school.
guys.
Cool.